Get your gun in the fight. Ceding control of 3/4 of the map will likely result in a loss. Wargaming knows the formula. Move and shoot. Just gonna have some gameplay going in the background of getting focus fired. And I'll get back to the formula later. But this shows that Wargaming knows the formula. The formula to winning is moving and shooting. That's it. Move and shoot. If I could, let me just go to my notes here. Got notes on this one because I feel it's important. You cannot win any war by sitting on the defensive. It can't be done. That's a quote from Bronze Star Medal Colonel Douglas MacGregor. Author of several books, Warrior's Rage, Breaking the Phalanx, and Margin of Victory. Now, talking about a game, not a war, right? By the way, this artillery guy here is gonna make sure he focus fires me, and I literally get pinned in a corner and cannot move without getting destroyed. So I'm gonna show some gameplay examples here of teams who take advantage of me getting focus fired, and teams that don't. And it just before I move on here, it's a long video and I got a lot to cover, and I'll get to the real purpose of this video in a sec. But if I were to say to you, there's a new World of Tanks gameplay mode where your team has artillery but the enemy team doesn't. I'm pretty sure almost everybody would say, hey, that sounds like more fun. That sounds good. I'm up for that. Well, that's what happens every time you're in a game with me. I know how that sounds, but that's what I'm showing you. That's what this is what happens to me all the time. I have a whole video series of this called Kill Beer. It's hours of video, hundreds of games put together, showing this very thing. And I have tons more on my hard drive. I'm filled up with this kind of examples of this kind of stuff. I got so much stuff off my, gotta get so much stuff off my hard drive, it's unreal. Sorry. But if I were to give you that option, I'm sure most guys would take it. Well, that option's available when you see I'm in the game with you. Because if the enemy team has even the least bit opportunity, they will shoot at me. And especially true of the artillery guys. It's extremely difficult for me, I'll tell you flat out. It's extremely difficult for me to survive a winning match. That's how bad it is. So that's the formula, right? Move and shoot. If you have guys who are willing to move and shoot and like keep their eyes open, see what's happening like this team did, and say, hey, you know, I'm gonna take advantage here. They're not shooting at me, so this is great. I'm gonna take advantage of that. And they drive forward, they come to help me, and we win the game by a huge margin. I wish this happened more often. But it doesn't. If you have Just let me back up for a sec. Recently there was I don't know if there's any hockey fans there amongst the guys who review this, but Leon Draisaitl, of the Edmonton Oilers, for just before the Olympic break, he's talking about a loss to the Flames, and he said something that really caught my attention. He said, in hockey terms, he said you need more than 4 or 5 guys going. And in hockey talk, going means doing something. It's as simple as that. You need more than 4 or 5 guys on the team doing something in order to win the game. And that caught my attention, just related to, World of Tanks isn't hockey, it isn't war, but you only have 50 minutes here to do something. Do something. If you're not taking advantage when an advantage is presented to you, then your team's, you're not helping your team at all. You're helping yourself maybe, by doing nothing till the very end of the match, which seems to be the style of gameplay that the teams I get put on in World of Tanks and World of Warships. Same type of player. They don't want to do anything till the very end of the match. Well, obviously the match is either won or lost for you by then. See, you can. It's very rare that a team can win from the back of the map, but they can certainly lose it. They could certainly lose it. And if you have too many guys on your team who don't follow the formula of move and shoot, because these games so many last, you have 15 minutes, but realistically these games are over. Like, I can tell, as I said before, over and over in my videos, I can tell in the first 30 seconds with a huge degree of accuracy whether or not it's going to be a win or a loss, simply by guys where they move, whether they move or not. Do they move? Do they go somewhere? Do something? Or do they do nothing? They're sitting at the very back. Or in the World of Warships, they're sitting behind some island somewhere, all lashing their ships together and swabbing each other's decks or whatever they're doing back there. Well, this is just the land version of that game. Interestingly, I have a 48% win rate in both games. Both of these wargaming games. Why? I get put with the same types of players over and over and over again who don't want to move, who don't want to shoot. That's the formula, and wargaming knows it. It used to be in the old days they would show you distance traveled at the end of the match when you're running over this guy wanted to come. He got frustrated that I was tucked in behind that building there. He couldn't get me like he wanted to, so he thought he was going to come and finish me off, but and then the game's hopeless. I'm done here, right? Everybody and his dog shooting at me, and who knows where the other guys are or what they're doing. Another non-existent team. I show a series of clips here. I could do an entire video on this just to go off here and show you. I could do an entire video of screenshots where I take most damage, most hits, by far. I'm just going to show you some recent games of that. I got to get those off my hard drive too. It's full of them. I used to have my hard drive full of previous console generations of where I finished first overall and lost, just like this. Just a massive loss. sometimes first overall, sometimes first on my team, right? Actually, not sometimes, they were all either first overall or first on my team. Had a clogging up the hard drives, so many of them. Back in the old days, to try and thinking one day I got to prove a point, because what I was seeing from these CCs and what they were talking about wasn't happening to me. That's why I created the channel. To show, hey, this is my World of Games experience, World of Tanks, World of Warships game experience. It looks totally different than theirs. And by the way, in these, when I'm showing you these numbers, like damage blocked and hits received, right? So right in the middle there is what I'm kind of focusing on, want you to focus on. Damage, hits received, those numbers. So there was a huge disconnect from what I was experiencing to what I was seeing from these guys doing their World of Tanks and World of Warships videos. So I created the channel. Talk about that. As I said many times before, there I came across an article in the forums back in the old days when they used to have forums. And it was from a former employee. And it's talking, the subject of this video is the game is rigged. And recently there was a famous, whatever, as far as the console version goes, a famous CC who's once again defending. I don't think he's a CC. He's a, whatever he is now, a CA or whatever the fuck that means. I don't even know what that means. But so he's once again going on this line, and this guy irritates me so bad. He reminds me of some pompous English guy, just that, looks down on. And he's bragging about, you do this, you do that, in previous videos, right? One of the first ones that he did that kind of caught my ire was I guess somebody, wasn't me, somebody talked to him in the comments section about, his gameplay experience was different than what these other guys were saying, right? So he's saying, well, you're getting different matchmaking because you're a CC. And this English guy, in order to counter that argument, he says, well, that's not true, because since I became a CC, my win rate has gone down. But in the same video, and in this stream of video after video after video, all these guys will tell you it's win rate equals skill. So then you can't have it both ways. You see what I mean? See what I'm saying? Did your skill rate go down as a result of you becoming a CC? As you got more familiar with the tanks, as you started, getting more tanks, more experience, telling people about the tanks, telling people about the maps, everything that they do. So you gained all this knowledge only to have your win rate drop, right? But so which one is it? It can't be both at the same time, in other words, right? That doesn't follow any logic. So let me just for a second, before I run out of time in this video too. He recently had another one and he was getting kind of raked over in the comment section, I noticed. Because he's once again defending this line, right? Where if you do this, that, and the other thing in the game, and if you put this, that, and the other crew skills and tank equipment on, you boost your win rate. Well, let's just talk about that for a second, right? Because you control exactly two things. That article, by the way, from a former Wargaming employee, said that Wargaming controls everything about this game, not you. It's just an illusion that you control stuff. They want you to believe in. You don't control. Wargaming controls this game. You control two things, don't you? You control where you move and where you look. And when you pull your squeeze your trigger finger, and once you squeeze that trigger finger, what happens? Wargaming takes over again, right? Wargaming takes complete control of the game again.
Focus attention here.
You know, everything is hit points are applied to everything in this game. Modules, crew, usually a crew of 4 is the norm. And your modules include things like your turret ring, your cannon, the tracks, the fuel tank and engine, vision slots, ammo rack, those kinds of things, right? And then you have your and our version of the game is plus or minus 20%, and the PC version is 30%. So 30% is applied to accuracy or penetration or damage done. And that's being applied to each and every tank in the game. So so that's applied either for you or against you in every match, those values. And you take that variation of numbers and you times it by 30 guys. That becomes an insane number of values in this game that are completely beyond your control. You have no control over. As I say, you control where you move and where you look. When you press the trigger, after that, everything's in Wargaming's hands. Do you control the matchmaker in this game? These guys seem to think that matchmaking, I heard also same guy say, matchmaking, when he talks about matchmaking, he's talking about how often you're applied +2, -2, or +1, -1. Well, that's not what guys are talking about when they're talking about matchmaking. They're talking about getting stuck with bizarre shit teams that you have no hope in hell of winning the match with. These guys are non-existent. They're not moving, they're not shooting, or they will like to go to one area of the map, whether it's World of Warships or World of Tanks. That's their spot, and they put the anchor down. They put the anchor down. They lash the boats together. Same thing here. Same thing in World of Tanks. They put the anchor down. They don't move. So this, the idea that you can control your win rate is absolutely mathematically insane. But these guys still, thankfully, they're getting pushback on it, and thankfully, some of the guys on the PC side are talking about it. Former and present community contributors. Klaus calls them wargaming contributors, which is about Klaus Kellerman. which is a more accurate description of them. They're wargaming contributors, man. They're free advertisement for wargaming. When I watch their videos, I don't see these guys, and I watch a lot of the videos, and when I die, I don't just jump out and go on to the next. Not usually, sometimes I do, but not usually. I'll stick around and watch and see what happens. And as I've said before in my videos, you know how many times I've seen a guy wipe the floor with the enemy team, and I have 70,000 games. Somebody in the comment section looked up this CC's games, and it was like 25,000. He says he's been at it for 10 years. Right, I've also been in this console thing for 10 years. But I have 70,000 games. And you know how often I've seen one guy wipe the floor. One guy does not win. Take all his hit points and use his hit points to destroy all the hit points on the enemy team. That doesn't happen, of course. It's mathematically impossible. Everybody gets a little bit of help, but what I'm talking about is a guy who pulled out a victory out of a game that there was no business getting a victory from. I've seen it 5 times. 5 times. The most recent one was in a loss where a guy in a Super Hellcat did it on the enemy team. I was so pissed off because he made sure I was wiping the floor with the team. You know, speaking of wiping the floor. And so he made sure he hit me, got unspotted, hit me again. I was getting no help. None. And so once he took me out, and we had a huge lead. We had a huge lead in the match. And once I was gone, he easily picked apart the rest of the guys on my team. So pretty much won. And that's happened 5 times. I swear in 70,000 games I have in this freaking game, in World of Tanks. I don't know how many World of Warships, but a lot there too. I've seen it 5 times. So this whole concept of, you know, like controlling your destiny. I was talking about this one time in a video, and a guy who's I don't get many comms, but one time a guy who was a programmer said he was being a programmer for 20 years and had a degree in what's it called again? He was a software engineer. Had a degree and several certificates. He says, of course it's not. It's rigged. Just based on his own gameplay experience. I've often told the story of a guy, and there's lots of examples of this. All you have to do is do a little research, and you realize these CCs are blatantly lying to you. One that I've talked about on my channel is a guy who did an experiment with his kid's account. His World of Tanks account, where he had a 40 under 50% win rate, and he decided to do a little experiment with his son's tanks. Well, his son had only had up to tier 4 at the time, so he took his son's tier 4 tanks and he took them from about a 50% win rate. His son actually had a higher win rate than him, and he took his son's win rate up to about 70%. Played like hundreds of games, like 300 games. Then he did the same thing on his account, Now his tier, he started with the tier 4s and he moved along like he had progressed with his son's same tanks he used. He was careful to use the same tank. One of his tanks, of course, are fully upgraded because where his sons, he had to go through the steps to upgrade them. He takes his son's account to about a 70% win rate in 300 games. He plays his account with the same tanks, fully upgraded tier 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever he got up to. He doesn't specify, but he specifies that he started out with tier 4s. And he is averaging, he tracks it, he's averaging in his games 7 kills. And you know what? His win rate doesn't budge. His win rate doesn't budge above 50%. It was less than 50%. I think it was 48%, same as mine. So what changed? The same guy playing the same tanks, only his tanks are fully upgraded, a little bit better. He's getting pitiful results on his account. His son's getting amazing results. What's the difference? The difference is Wargaming doesn't know whose account it is. I don't know if you're using the same internet connection or same IP or different, but whatever. It's it's a different account as far as Wargaming is concerned. So this stuff, I get there's more stories than that. That's the only one that I took detailed notes on, but there's lots of other stories like this. You find them all over Reddit and wherever. Where guys have performed their own experiments. I had one recent where, in encounter battles, I was losing I guesstimated in my 70,000. I was losing 80% of all of my encounter battles. But I could never quantify that number. But the most recent Halloween event, I was noticing I'm losing almost every single one of those. And you know what they were? They were basically all encounter battles. And so I started tracking the numbers. Every 10 matches I was losing 8 games over and over and over. So that my guesstimate was bang on. I was losing 80% of those battles in the Halloween mode gameplay. I have to put that video together and sort out just a whole cluster of all these things built up to proof point, right? To back up what I'm saying. So here you go. My estimate was pretty much bang on. In this game here, take note of these guys who are left. They're clearly trying to get me. You know what? This type of game was so rare for me. It felt so good. Because I was able to punish the enemy team. Why? Because I had help. Some guys come and even though all the guys who were left were trying like hell to get me, right? I was able to persevere and absorb hits. Well, because this is a good tank and because I had a good team. This is so rare for me, man. So rare. And it feels good once in a while to get put on a decent team because it doesn't happen very often. So the numbers just don't add up. It's simple numbers game. You cannot control this game. You cannot control your win rate. Next time somebody says that, go in the comments section This will really piss them off. I've done it before. Say, oh, if you can control your win rate, why aren't you winning every match? Right? Just win all your games then. If you can control your win rate, why are you losing? And then, you know, they don't like that because the answer is obvious. Well, the answer is because your teammates, right? Your teammates. Like Leon Draisaitl says, you only have 4 or 5 guys going, you're not going to win. Do you think those CCs are getting the same matchmaking as you? As in play? I've watched their games, man. They're up against duds. Complete duds who don't even look at them, shoot at them. But me, I can't go out of the garage and from tier 10 to tier to tier 4 without getting frickin' focus fired. Like, well, the gameplay speaks for itself. Anyway, guys, just wanted to get that one off my chest, and you know, some of the things these CCs say, I'm telling you, it's just pompous arrogance. Do this and you'll be as good as me. Do it like that, you'll be as good as me. Well, I wish I had your matchmaking, man. And you think their RNG, their penetration, their accuracy, and damage done, and damage that they're receiving is the same as what you get or I get? No, I don't think so. Thanks, guys.